Hello everybody, kia ora, and welcome to this video about the astrological energies affecting us from Saturday the 14th of December until Sunday the 22nd of December, except that due to the busyness of this time of year, I am only recording this on a Saturday. And so you might not see it till this Sunday, but it still goes for the whole week up to Sunday the 22nd. So this is Western Tropical Astrology from the point of view of the Southern Hemisphere, especially Australia and New Zealand. And my name is Fiona. I can't remember if I said that. But the major things affecting us this week, the full moon in Gemini on Sunday, the 15th of December, Mercury turning direct, yay, in Sagittarius. I'm going to talk about Mars retrograde every week until February because we're under that influence for a long time. And also summer solstice on the following Sunday. So let's go. So looking at the moon phase that we are in, we are right on the full moon in Gemini. It always comes close to summer solstice, the full moon in Gemini. And at any time with full moon, we've got high energy. Things come to a culmination point or a peak point in the cycle. And going along with the summer solstice, even more, like always with full moon, is a bit of a feeling of celebration and partying. So we've got that even more with the summer. Okay, and towards the end of the video, I'll do a bit of an analysis of the full moon, but it takes a long time, so I'll leave that to the end for those who want to stay on for it. And then the energy will wane as the light of the moon wanes or diminishes over the coming week, but it's still going to be pretty high for the first few days until we come to Monday, the 23rd of December, and then we've got the last quarter moon. And after that, it'll really come down again before we have the new moon after Christmas. Okay. And I want to just show you, because many of you know, I make and sell an astrological calendar. There's an edition for New Zealand or Aotearoa, and there's an edition for Australia, and the Australian one is just coming out very shortly from the printers, and you can order it online at sunandmooncalendar.nz. But I partly did this calendar because I feel that the lunar cycle is so important. It's used in maramataka, for those of you familiar with Māori calendars, and it's used in Indigenous cultures. All of our Indigenous cultures, that's what we originally used for the month, as I'm sure you know. And circumstances have brought, and history has brought many of us away from living in that natural way. And I'm hoping we can go back to it. So anyway, what I really felt was important in the calendar that I make was to visually show that lunar cycle. So it's set out in lunar months. This is an example of just part of the page for April, and hopefully you can see that it's kind of light because I wanted to leave space for people to write. But at the beginning of the month with the new moon, it's the dark moon, and so it's a darker circle, and then you can see the crescent moon getting bigger and bigger, and until it's the full moon, and you can see on the 13th of that month, 13th of May, that's the full moon. And then the energy diminishes as the light goes down again. So that's how I've shown the lunar month on the calendar. So here we go. Let's talk about the main events going on this week. And so we have got, after the full moon on Sunday the 15th, we've got Mercury turning direct. And we've just come to the end of 3 weeks of going back over things. This might be an idea from the past that you've tried out. You've gone back to that idea and given it a go. Or it could have been things that you were working on that involved arranging and messaging and planning, and maybe they took extra planning, extra arranging, rejigging, lots of messages flying around, sorting things out. Or it could have been glitches with your car, with your computer, with your phone, social media, any kind of social technology in general, machinery and digital technology going wrong. So all that can happen with Mercury retrograde, and It will probably feel easier with Mercury going forward from Monday. And we'll still be sorting things out because we're still in the post-shadow, and we'll be sorting we'll be sorting things out, but there'll be a greater sense of clarity and things will go more smoothly. Having said that, we are under Mars retrograde, okay? So that's a little bit different than Mercury retrograde. We're still going back over things. We're still reviewing. We're still revising, especially in the areas that Mars rules in your personal astrology chart, your natal chart. But the other way that they're different is that so Mars is about our drive and how we take action, and Mars likes to see results, likes to really feel like there's progress. Okay, and while Mars is retrograde, right until February, towards the end of February even, we're likely to feel that we're not really making progress. That's definitely on the cards, but it's a case of going backwards in order to go forwards, and the same with Mercury retrograde. But over the last week, we've had both of them retrograde, Mercury and Mars, and now Mercury will go forward, but Mars is still retrograde. So it's a time of review, and it's a time of going back over things. Okay. And yay, summer solstice. I do feel drawn to the pagan calendar, and astrology, of course, is based on the pagan calendar, but I really like the pagan way of really celebrating these astronomically important moments. And this is where the sun is at its fullest. It's the farthest south towards us in the Southern Hemisphere that it can come. We have the longest day, or the longest days. You know, it's over about 3 days that we have this moment of the sun turning and changing direction. And there's a still moment in the sky as that great ship, the sun, turns around as it appears from Earth. In fact, it's the Earth that's slowly tilting the other way, of course. But it's such a time of abundance, with everything in full bloom, all the leaves all shiny and full, like, you know, just bursting with energy. So I hope that you have a chance to get out into nature, maybe with a group of people, and celebrate and party. Last week I was really lucky to go to a party with a friend, some friends, and the person whose birthday it was organised a walk from their place up, about 20-minute walk up to a paddock, and it was in the country, with a big speaker and we danced in the paddock, and it was really fun, and looked at the sunset. Even though the sun was behind clouds, it was still awesome. We had a great view, and it lasted for about 2 songs until the battery ran out. But it was an awesome kind of thing to do for summer solstice, being together, celebrating all the abundance of life. Actually, we were also rolling down the hill. It was really fun. So I hope you get the chance to do something like that makes you feel celebratory, appreciative, abundant, and vital. And having said that, we're under a more somber energy, with Saturn coming up to an exact square with Jupiter. And this is the second of 3 squares. The first was in August, and the final one will be in June next year. So it's a long time, but this is a key moment where Jupiter will be retrograde, Saturn will be going forward, and they come into square with Jupiter in Gemini and Saturn in Pisces. So these two are huge manifesting planets for us. Jupiter is about stepping out into optimistic expansion, into the unknown, new adventurous paths, seeking higher meaning. And Saturn is about being sensible, being in the real world, showing up, doing our jobs, our duties, carrying our responsibilities like an adult. And with these two in a square, it means we're probably facing some of the harder stuff of our big ideas and plans that we want to do with Jupiter. And if we work on it, we are likely to get rewards, but we might not see them for a long time because Saturn is slow. Like Saturn does give us rewards. Saturn tends to feel serious and a little bit depressive and can feel like low energy, but it does reward hard work and results. Yeah, Saturn likes results, not just airy-fairy, oh, but I tried really hard. No, Saturn would like to see results. So if we're trying hard and it's not working, rethinking what we're doing under this energy. And that becomes exact on Christmas Day. And I'm mentioning it here because it's not Christmas Day yet, obviously, but that energy is really building and pretty strong at the moment, right up till Christmas and a bit after. So now I'm going to go through this week's aspects and transits day by day. So let's look at that. Of course, as I said, Sunday the 15th of December, the full moon in Gemini. The full moon is the peak point in that monthly lunar cycle, and it's a feeling of completion or having reached that high point. And you can feel kind of celebratory and higher in energy at that time, especially with the summer solstice. And then on Monday, Mercury stations direct, as I just said, so this is a turning point, and things will get easier with our arrangements and plans and use of machinery going forward with that. And then there's not so much happening until Thursday, and then we've got the Sun square Neptune, and this is an aspect that's featuring quite a bit with that full moon on the Sunday. Sun square Neptune can make us feel confused and vague and have illusions and be overly idealistic, overly optimistic, seeing the world through rose-coloured glasses in a not such a good way. But then on the other hand, that can be energizing, like even though it's a square, which is more challenging, the Sun is energy and Neptune is, the positive side of Neptune is imagination, wonderful fantasy like stories, creative stories, spiritual connection, compassion, empathy, and a universal love. And with the Sun and that energetic Sun, the Sun is so energetic, especially right now with the solstice. We could feel fired up in terms of imaginative stuff, creative stuff, spirituality, and charity, acts of charity and empathy and understanding. So work towards that but avoid being overly idealistic. Okay. And then on Friday, it's actually time to be a bit idealistic because we've got Venus trine Jupiter. This happens twice a year and it's lovely. Like these are the two benefics, the two ones that bring benefits. So Venus is beauty and love, sweetness, comfort, lovely adornments like necklaces and jewelry and pretty clothes, lovely flowers. And Jupiter has a lot of optimism and expansion and lucky breaks. And we're bringing these together in a trine, which is an aspect of flow and ease. So I think that will be a really nice day on Friday, leading us into the solstice. How awesome. And then on Saturday, the Sun enters Capricorn, that peak moment, the high point of the year, summer solstice, the longest day, a time to breathe in and breathe out with joy and appreciation of abundance and vitality. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit of an analysis of that full moon chart. This is the full moon in Gemini. So with the full moon, we've always got the Sun opposite the moon, facing each other in the sky. And as the sun sets, the moon will rise. And as the moon rises, the sun... Oh, hang on. And then as the sun rises in the morning, the moon will be going down. Okay, so this is in the sign of Gemini, and it's at 23 degrees of Gemini that the moon is, and the sun at 23 degrees, or just about 24 degrees actually, of Sagittarius. And I'm just going to talk about the main features of this, and that is that one, that Jupiter is co-present with the moon. Okay, it's not very close. It's like 9 degrees, 8 to 9 degrees away from the moon. So it's not very close, but there is likely to be a feeling of expansiveness because of that, but a little bit of looking back because Jupiter is in retrograde, and of course Mars is as well. And so we're in a lot of retrograde energy at the moment. And at the same time, we've got Mercury still retrograde, but just about to go forwards at its turning point. So in a way, the steps that you take at this time, these few days around Mercury's turning point, could fall deeper in the sand. Mercury is slow, and Mercury is the ruler of this full moon because Mercury rules Gemini and the moon is in Gemini. And we've got Mercury and Jupiter not closely opposite, but they are in opposition with each other. And there's this energy of thinking about the details with Mercury and thinking of the big picture with Jupiter. And there could be a clashing feeling with those, like how do we do both? But then through that opposition and the tension and us having to work through that, we can come to some good solutions with that, the big picture versus the details. Yeah, so good luck with that. But at the same time, there's a T-square, and I've just drawn the square there between Neptune and the moon, but it's a T-square because it forms a T with the sun and the moon, and then Neptune square to those. So this is where we could find that we are operating under delusions, or we're feeling a bit vague or confused, or we get over idealistic. So take care with that, and hopefully we can use that energy for some good imagination, creative projects, spiritual connection, swimming. Neptune's the sea and the water, so swimming, yeah, that would be really good. But yeah, it's not, a square is not an easy aspect, especially a T-square. So that's just something to be aware of. But it's all good. It's all just part of working through stuff always. Okay. And there's a few other nice things, not as important, but I'll mention them. So the moon is Jupiter and the moon are sextile to Chiron, and that could give us a little bit of support for some healing of a deep inner wound, especially involving shame, a childhood wound that we still carry. There's an opportunity to perhaps gain some healing through this time. And we've got a trine between Mars and Mercury and the North Node, and of course the South Node is involved if you wanted to make a kite there. And that's lovely, like that's creative and a destined kind of thing, but it's maybe not going to become into full expression because Mars and Mercury are very close there, and so Mercury is at 6 degrees and Mars is at 5 degrees, but they never become exact because Mercury will turn around on that 6 degree point and move forward. So it's not going to come into exact trine with Mars, and also Mars and Mercury have both already passed that North Node trine point. So yeah, there might be some kind of real positive feelings and feeling like we're moving forward with something, but it might never quite come to fruition. So be aware of that and don't be too disappointed if it doesn't. But it could be some good vibes. Okay. And as an ongoing thing that's we're in and out of really for a while, and that is the opposition between Pluto, newly in Aquarius, and Mars, which is retrograding in Leo, opposite Pluto. And that will take place 3 times, that opposition, and the next one becomes exact on the 3rd of January. I think that's the date. And that is challenging, it's clashy, it's a bit volcanic, like explosive, and some of it could be an underground kind of explosion, like, oh, I can't take this anymore. And that is because, you know, with that Mars retrograde energy, there's a lot of energy and frustration because we can feel like we're not getting anywhere. And then Pluto can be about some power issues that are hidden, psychological patterns, and sometimes a need to control and manipulate. So that's a challenging energy, but we're not really in that too strongly this week, but it's going to become stronger again in early January. So just be aware of it and try and be patient with the processes, with the retrograde energy, and with each other. So that's all I'll say about the full moon chart. If I've got time next week, I might do an analysis of the solstice chart, because that can set the tone for the next 3 months until we get to the equinox, the autumn equinox. That sounds so far away now, but time moves so quickly, eh? There we go, everybody. I hope that you have a lovely week with that full moon energy and that solstice energy of celebration and the full noise of light and life that summer brings. Remember to order your sun and moon calendar from sunandmooncalendar.com or sunandmooncalendar.nz, and we will be sending out your copies as you order them. And all the best from me. Hei konara, ka kite. Bye for now.